Yo, what's up, guys? APW Sports signing in. And I just wanted to jump right into a topic that has been discussed within the national media and, of course, Bear fans alone. And that is the woes, the struggles, the ineptability of the Chicago Bears passing game. There's a lot of factors that go into why this Bears offense has absolutely struggled throwing the football. And I will tackle all of those reasons that I believe that this Bears passing game throughout the first 3 games of this season has absolutely struggled. I think the biggest reason is the lack of talent. Now, a lot of people are going to say their quality, but when we see these first 3 games of this Bears season, the wide receivers are not creating any separation. A lot of them are getting open. Justin Fields are in scramble drills, and they still haven't been able to create ways to get open. Outside of that Dante Pettis long touchdown in week 1 against San Francisco, where Justin Fields made a spectacular play on a scramble drill, the receivers have just not been getting open, either A, schematically, B, they are not creating any separation at the line of scrimmage. Their routes have not been as crisp. Let's just face it, this Chicago Bears wide receiving core is just not very talented, if you want to be honest. On top of that, you bring in guys that were supposed to be key contributors for your wide receiving core, and they have not been healthy. They traded for N'Keal Harry, gave a 7th-round pick to the Patriots. He hasn't seen a single ounce of the field preseason or regular season. Byron Pringle has been dealing with injuries throughout all of this year, and at the time of me recording this video, he has been placed on the IR, and he is scheduled to miss the next 4 games. Tight end position, Kmet, I always said he had an issue with dropping the football, and we've seen that a couple of times this year. He also has not been creating separation from the linebackers. He has not been getting open. And a tight end is supposed to be a quarterback's best friend, especially a young quarterback like the one we have in Justin Fields. And Kmet just has not produced in the passing game. The receiving core, Darnell Mooney has not been able to stay open. And I think, and I will go back into something, I think that has a little bit to do with the other receivers. Now, Darnell Mooney is very, very talented in my opinion. But think about what the Bears had last year. They had a receiver in Allen Robinson, who he did not produce nearly as much as he should have last season. And a lot of that was due to the scheme and due to Matt Nagy and all that. But teams still had to respect the fact that Allen Robinson is one of those receivers that can get open. He can catch some 50-50 balls. And to not have a presence of that type of receiver next to Darnell Mooney hurts, because through the first 3 games, and I'm only judging through the first 3 games of this season, Darnell Mooney has not looked like and has not been able to create separation and has not been able to be consistently open like a true number 1 wide receiver should. And the factor of Allen Robinson had coverages nixed away from Darnell Mooney until a guy like Allen Robinson, and that way Darnell Mooney was able to feast when those coverages were blanketed away from him. Now the coverages are going towards him because he's the main threat on this Chicago Bears offense as far as the wide receivers go. And he just hasn't been able to produce on a consistent level. And at this point at all, going into this season and through these first 3 games. The number 2 reason that I believe that this Bears passing game has struggled is the protection of the offensive line. The offensive line has not been very good for this Chicago Bears team. And this Bears offensive line right now is 6th most sacks given up in the NFL, with 10 sacks. Now, you cannot win games when you're consistently getting pressure on your quarterback, when you're consistently giving up sacks, and when you're consistently not protecting the quarterback. And this Bears offensive line is a makeshift one. You've been toggling guys like Lucas Patrick and Sam Mustipher in, Cody Whitehair, Tevin Jenkins, Larry Baum, Braxton Jones. This has been a complete rotation of a mostly young offensive line. You have Tevin Jenkins, year 2, hasn't been much experience due to back injuries and just roster shuffling and him moving to guard. Then you have Larry Baum, who's been in and out of the lineup with his own injuries. Cody Whitehair has probably been the only thing that has been consistent on this Chicago Bears offensive line. You have a late round rookie left tackle in Braxton Jones. You have Sam Mustipher and Lucas Patrick, who've been trading reps in between series. This offensive line, as number one, no continuity. It doesn't have a lot of experience. And on top of that, you also can add a guy like Riley Reef, who we signed right before the season, who else has been in and out of the lineup with the shuffling. So this Bears offensive line doesn't have any rapport, doesn't have any continuity with one another. They haven't been really passing off blocks very well. That is inexperience. And then the older veterans that we have, like a Riley Reef, is brand spanking new. He hasn't really been through the Bears offseason and all that because he got signed extremely late with the whole Tevin Jenkins rumors. So you have a Bears offensive line that is not great in pass protection. Now, run blocking has been very good. Pass blocking, not so much. On top of that, that offensive line is just not great. It really isn't great at all. Young guys, you have a late round rookie left tackle, which explains a lot about how this Bears offensive line is made up in Braxton Jones. When you have a guy that's a late round rookie and is starting at your premier left tackle position, the Bears didn't do enough to address that. And I will go into that as my number 3 reason. The Bears, they made a lot of trades this offseason. They got rid of guys like Roquan. They got rid of guys like Khalil Mack. They got rid of guys like Andy Dalton. A lot of those players are still counting against the salary cap. So that means the Bears did not have the resources or the expenses to really address this offensive line, in which was, I believe, one of the biggest problems last year outside of the schematics, is that this offensive line needed to be addressed, and it needed to be addressed forcefully because it was the biggest struggle that we had last year. And the Bears just did not have the resources to address not even the offensive line, the wide receiver position, which was lacking now that Allen Robinson is out of the door, and he was the best thing that the Bears had the past couple of seasons. Outside of Darnell Mooney last year, the Bears don't have much talent. It is not a very talented offense. When you look at the talent as far as the wide receiver position and the offensive line, it is not a very talented team in the pass game. The running game has been great for the Bears these first 3 weeks. Passing, not so much. And another reason, I'm going to touch on Justin Fields. He has been inaccurate. Now, a lot of Bear fans I've seen on Twitter, I've seen on the different social media platforms are wanting the Bears to, number one, do away with him, which is too early because he's in year 2 of his career. He's in system number 2, scheme number 2, offensive coordinator number 2, head coach number 2. He is in growing pain. He is in growing pains, especially coming off in the offense that had him do one thing, and now he's going to be implemented, and he's implemented into an offense that has him do something totally different. There is going to be some growing pains involved. As far as Justin Fields' mechanics, he does have a tendency to throw the ball a little bit sidearm, and one thing I've always criticized him, he hasn't been doing that as much this year, but he does have a tendency to hold the football just slightly too long. And a lot of that can be a contributor to his receivers not creating separation. He has time at times, but he cannot push the ball down the field because his receivers are not creating some separation, and he has to use his legs. Now, as far as the Bears rolling him out, that is a good thing. Something that I called for last year, something that I wanted to see. They rolled him out a little bit more. They've been bootlegging. They've used some more RPOs. They used a little bit more of the screen game. But at the same token, Justin Fields has to be better at his mechanics. He has to be better at his decision-making as far as throwing the football. And he has to be better, period. Now, his running is great, but his passing is still a work to be improved. He's going into YouTube with his new mechanics, and I think it's going to take some time for him especially to really get accustomed to this offense. And I've said in reaction to preview videos that a lot of that stuff will come later on in the season. We're just going through some early season struggles with Justin Fields, with, like I said, year 2 in the new offense, year 2, new head coach, year 2 of his career, new offensive coordinator, year 2, new offensive scheme that he has to learn. It's going to take time for the passing games to get going. And then when you think about it, if you are a football fanatic and you watch football, it always takes longer for offenses to get used to a new scheme and new coordinators, and like that forces a defense to get used to new schemes and new coordinators. It has always been that way throughout football. The offense takes a little more time to click, and I think Justin Fields will get there. He's had some throws he's missed. He's been inaccurate. He's let the ball a little bit too high, but I also can contribute that to the Bears' offensive line and him in his head thinking he's going to get hit because they haven't been well in pass protection. Overall, this Bears passing game has a lot of woes. We cannot attribute that just to one Justin Fields. We cannot contribute that just solely to the receiving core or solely to the offensive line and Luke Getsy's play calling. Now, Luke Getsy's play calling has been a little bit in question. The scheme, I personally believe, is there. The scheme, I believe, is there. I believe that this Bears offensive roster is just, I don't believe, at that talent level to be able to execute the scheme flawlessly. I don't think this Bears roster is there. The scheme, I believe, is there. We do have to see improvements from the play calling as far as the passing play calling goes. We have to see improvements for the wide receivers. All around, this could be a lingering problem. I hope it's not. I hope they finally get some adjustments, finally get some concepts to create open lanes for Justin Fields to throw, create open lanes for these receivers. Overall, there are a lot of different reasons for this Bears passing game struggling. We cannot point to just one. But those are just my thoughts on this Bears passing game woes. Leave you guys your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave this video a like, as it always helps the channel to grow and beat the algorithm. And if you are not sub, go ahead and click the sub button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the content that I post. But I am signing out. APW Sports. Make sure you guys have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bear down. Peace.